because your time is way more valuable than mine. So I want to jump in and get started. So I would like to welcome to the show. I have Colleen McAleer, the queen of many hats, joining us from the Clallam EDC, the Economic Development Council. Also the commissioner of the Port of Port Angeles.
From the east side of the county, that's right.
And am I missing anything else? Any other titles that we need to make sure we get?
No. Worker bee.
Do you want any more? Do you need any more board seats or anything we can put you on?
I sit on a lot of boards, but it kind of comes with my role as EDC executive director and port commissioner.
It's a varied role that you take on. So I appreciate you taking the few minutes to join us. I know that you work tirelessly, and we've talked a few times over the last year, and you host your own Zoom meetings each week. There's a lot that you do that goes on behind the scenes to help the business community thrive, and I wanted to thank you for that. But first, I'm going to give you 3 quick questions so that way our viewers who don't know Colleen can get to know you a little bit. So first, we have to erase our memories, and in a non-pandemic world, if you're at the summer barbecue and you're in the line, are you going hamburger or hot dog?
Hamburger, all day long.
I love the definitive answer. I love that. Second question, we all need a little bit of mindlessness time, even those that devote to, personal betterment and all this. What are you watching on Netflix or Hulu or something that's mindless that you love zoning out to?
Well, so I thought you were, so mindless, I got a really good answer for you on, it's not necessarily Netflix, but it's this Mahjong game that I am a superstar at it. I have become such I think, like my husband says, Rubik's Cube, people get good at that. I never lose on the highest level that's supposed to be the hardest. And I used to lose 50 times and win one. Now I'm like, but that's my zone out. I don't want to talk to people. I need to decompress. I do that.
So is that a you versus the computer? Are you playing another person? How does that work?
No, it's just Mahjong. So it's trying to get rid of all the tiles where you're left with none, and you matched them all. And I don't know, my brain's gotten good at it. And so now it's not as fun anymore. Now I got to find another stupid, downtime trick game to make me feel more decompressed.
Everyone needs a little something, whether it's, scrolling through Instagram or watching a show, or we started watching something recently called Undercover Billionaire, which is a really cool show. I will, do a pitch. Shout out Discovery Channel. If you ever see this, I'll take the royalties. My last question, 10-day vacation anywhere to totally decompress. What's your ideal bucket list 10-day vacation?
Greece. That would be Greece. On one of those little islands, white sand, warm sun, lots of really cool food with my husband, and knowing someone's got my dog.
Well, I'm staring out the window at 4 inches of snow, so white sand sounds a lot better than white snow right now. That sounds pretty good.
For sure.
So I wanted to ask you on, like I said, thank you for participating in the 3 dumb questions. It's how we get to know you a little bit, warm you up before I start peppering you with the good stuff. Can you talk about, first off, the efforts and the things, it's a loaded question, so you're going to be rambling for a while here, that the Economic Development Council has done for our community, specifically for little mom and pops like my company and all the ones out there. I've been on these Zoom calls that you host every Wednesday and seen. Just talk so people kind of understand what the EDC is and what value it's brought to our county.
Okay, so the EDC is the contracted partner and the designated entity of the county that is the conduit between the state government and businesses in Clallam County. So we have a contract with the state to provide all those different resources that the state has through the Department of Commerce, through the broadband office, and the like. We are kind of the ground game of Department of Commerce here in Clallam County. So we're the only ones that have that direct contract representing them and trying to help businesses. So when there's a small business that needs any kind of assistance, we have such a great partnership with Center for Inclusive Entrepreneurship, SBDC, the alphabet soup of all the different entities across our county that support different businesses, different ways, chambers. We connect with them and have those businesses, either we give direct technical assistance. I've got a long history in commercial real estate, and so I help businesses that way. But if it's more about how do I create a better supply chain? Then I've got experts that I refer to them. So that's one thing. Another, and that's always ongoing. Another thing that we do is, and so I actively reach out to businesses, how can we help you? What are your biggest problems? What's your barriers? And then I try to figure out how I can help them. The state has different tax incentives. I make sure businesses know about that. During the pandemic, it's been the state has given us funding for grants, and the county received coronavirus CARES money. So they contracted with us for us to distribute those grants, and we created selection committees from across the county to include chamber executive directors to serve on those committees to select different businesses for these grant awards. We didn't have nearly enough money to distribute what was needed, but it was over $3 million that we distributed.
I was just going to ask that. I knew I'd seen something that the city of Sequim had a relief fund. I know the chambers had something. $3 million. I mean, and that's not the PPP. That's not federal. Right. So that's on top, because I know that a lot of small businesses were, bridged some of that gap with the federal program, but there's $3 million of grants. That's huge.
So that was through Working Washington grants 1 and 2 that we distributed. We didn't do 3. The state hired an entity at the state level, but we still provided a lot of technical assistance. We just didn't cut the checks. For Working Washington 3, we also did Lifeboat 1, Lifeboat 2, and then these community development block grants, which are really complex and challenging and way more difficult than all the other grant programs, but they are for the low to moderate income, really small business owners, the micro enterprises. They take 10 times as much time to process for both the recipient and for us. And yet it's a smaller amount, and it's for the smallest businesses. It makes no sense. But, hey, it's $4,000 for each small business. And we don't, I don't think anybody's going to pass up $4,000 during the
really like that phrase you called it. And I'm an idiot when it comes to micro enterprises. I think I want a t-shirt that says micro enterprise or something, I love that. So beginning of pandemic, this all hit where you were working day and night, right? This was like you guys were burning the midnight oil.
Yeah. The first thing was getting the information out about EIDL advances. I mean, that was free money, and it took 15 minutes to apply on the SBA.gov site to get that free money. So that was like the first thing we hit was telling every business owner, you got to apply for this. And then it was PPP money and explaining that, it's called the loan, but really, if you do it right, and it takes a while to make sure you do it right, this is, again, free money.
Yep.
It's a grant. So trying to get the message out there. And we got our county, which is about the same size of, like, as an example, Grays Harbor, as far as population goes. Our county had over 1,100 PPP applications with banks in our county, whereas Grays Harbor had 800. So we had almost, 40% more. And I think that was because we had such a strong program with the EDC and our partners, chambers and everybody else, trying to actively reach out to businesses to say, hey, it's a misnomer to call it a loan. This is really a grant. It's a little complex, but man, it could be, 30, 50, $2 million. So I think we did pretty darn well there. And now, of course, it's the second round of that, and we're doing it again, making sure everybody understands that this is available. If someone didn't get a PPP loan last year, they can do it this year. And you don't have to show that you had a reduction in revenues even. You have to say that you've got, you've been impacted, and you have to explain why it is that you're impacted, but it's it's worth the time to contact the EDC or another entity to get help on filling it out. And our banks around here are just fantastic at walking people through. I've known people that started the process and then were like, I don't understand this, and stopped. And then someone from the local bank calls them and says, you didn't finish. How can I help you?
Yeah, let's get this money.
Yeah. This is free money for our county. You got to get it. And so that's how we've been looking at it. PPP is just huge. And then, just trying to get the message out with Coffee with Colleen, and allowing people that are so frustrated right now, business owners, to talk about, what they're going through. We brought legislators on. We're having Hillary Franz from DNR on soon, so we can have that conversation.
So to jump in there real quick, short plug, Coffee with Colleen. It's every Wednesday, right? Wednesday at 8 a.m. There's a Zoom invite. It's linked below. It's on the EDC's website. I think you can click on a giant mugshot of Colleen to get to the Zoom. I think it works that way. But it's a way that you are bringing the community together on a weekly basis, where these conversations and people can, tell real life on the ground what's happening, right?
Right. We created a website called chooseclallamfirst.com. And it's so the link to Coffee with Colleen is on there, but also all the different grants. We update it daily. So make sure you refresh your page and you're not getting something old. But we update that daily on new grants, new loans, new data on, unemployment, all the different, everything's constantly changing, and we're trying to keep it all up to date for business owners, info that you need. And again, we're always there to help. info@clallam.org is the email address. We probably get 20 inquiries a day, and we respond to those just as soon as we can.
So spin it forward now. That was obviously a nice snapshot of the stuff that happened in 2020 and the money that came through. And obviously there's still grants and things available, but I know that the EDC and what you've been doing has kind of shifted a little bit towards bettering Clallam County, advertising, things that you can do to keep, income and jobs here, to help with tourism and why people can come here and work remotely. Can you talk a little bit about what 2020, we're basically a year into the pandemic. Yeah. So what's 2021 and 2022 look like for you in your role?
Right. Okay. So one of the things we've been doing within this Choose Clallam First campaign is we're creating 6 different really short videos. The first one came out. It's basically doing business in Clallam County.
Loved it, by the way. I'll link it below here. That's a great one. I love that.
Great. And our next one's going to be for remote workers. So anyone that is not loving where they live, perhaps, the pandemic is requiring them to really be more housebound than they want to. And, and so Clallam County is a great place to get out and enjoy the beauty of our area and the recreational opportunities that are less available and more packed anyway in urban areas. So we're going to do a remote worker video, and we're going to do another one highlighting small businesses and how we're connecting with the community and all our different partners. And anyway, so we've got 6 rolling out this year that we're working on. And we also have a big push with Jefferson County. We administer a lobbyist that works at the state level on just specifically things that affect businesses. So, the unemployment insurance rates that have gone up for small business owners, trying to address that. advocating for businesses in our county, from broadband to, helping out small businesses. And then the third item, is a maritime economic opportunity, trying to get large yacht owners to be able to come into our county and across the state, because right now, if a yacht is, it's a little complex, but if a yacht owner or a large boat owner that has a crew is in Washington state for more than 60 days, they have to essentially pay sales tax on it, which is, so no one comes. So you don't see, these smaller ships that would be awesome tourist opportunities for our businesses, and also, repair opportunities. So that's another one we're working on there.
Colleen, that's why I keep my large yacht and crew offshores. That's why I keep them, they're up in Victoria. They're up in Victoria just to avoid that tax harbor right now.
What happens is the big yacht owners in California, they come up to Oregon and then they go to Canada or Alaska, and they skip Washington state. So we're missing out on that. So we're trying to address that. And so anyway, that's that legislative piece. We also have hired a community organizer to support childcare needs across our county. And her name's Dr. Lynn Keenan. So she is assessing where the need exists and where the resources are, and what can we do going forward to be more efficient and effective at providing childcare resources across our county, helping, parent-child co-ops start up and things like that.
Which is huge as our county grows, which is obviously growing, and, we want it to, it's changing demographics as well. And so that working family, working from home, need for childcare, all of that, is a glaring need when I talk to a lot of my peers in town. And so that's, what an awesome thing for you guys to be doing. Again, this is all stuff that I think most people don't know is happening. They just, they don't realize all that goes on and that a role like you and your team do.
But another big push is to help out contractors, construction businesses in our county. We have over 700 and they're licensed. And so they are not engaging or getting contracts with our local government. And the biggest contracts, look around, what are these, big contracts? They're almost all government contracts. And all of them are going to, including the majority of the subcontractors awards, are going to Seattle and Tacoma big business. And so we want to get them engaged and get them to be bidding on some of these contracts, so that we can keep our property taxes and our sales taxes local instead of sending it over to Seattle, Tacoma, and Kitsap counties. So we're doing training programs on that, and then also working with all the local governments to explain what they can do to entice and incentivize local businesses to apply for this. They're not going to be able to win a big $40 million contract and be the prime contractor, but they could bid on some subcontracting.
Yeah.
And so that's where we want to start. And eventually we want to have some, in 5 years, I hope to see some big construction firms that are born and raised here in Clallam County and serving us in Jefferson County, rather than, all of that money, all of those contracts and people coming in from out of the area and getting our contracts, getting our public dollars.
There's a lot of growth going, and so everything you can do to try to keep it here, the better, right?
Yeah. So, and we really are doing our best to try to reach out to all of these really small businesses. I just created
micro enterprises, micro enterprises, please.
Yeah. So these really small businesses that are essential businesses, so that are in that 2B grouping that get vaccinations next. We've created a list of, from, all, like, so many different resources of all the businesses with the emails, and we're getting that off to Dr. Barry, the public health officer, so that she can communicate directly with them. That's another project that we are just finishing up. But it's a myriad right now, and we feel like it's an emergency situation. And, you know, this old saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And so we, along with our really terrific partners, have been pushing to get information and dollars out to those that, at no fault of their own, are suffering so greatly.
Well, and I think we all see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know, whether it's 6 weeks, 6 months, you know, there's something on the horizon to look forward to. So
Right.
as I wrap this up, because I know you're busy, what's the best way, resources? I know you've said a couple websites, but I'll make sure to link them down here. Can you tell us websites, email, and Coffee with Colleen? Tell us one more time.
Yeah. Okay. Go to chooseclallamfirst.com. And in there is all the resources. If you have a specific question, info@clallam.org. That's our normal website, clallam.org. But we created this specific website, Choose Clallam First, as a response to the pandemic.
Love it.
And then, yeah, join us on Coffee with Colleen on Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. The link's there. We'd love to have anyone that's interested from the community and business owners join us. And if there's any questions, you know, you can ask them there and we'll get you answers. And we try to have experts on that can help all sorts of folks within Clallam County.
Well, you're doing awesome stuff, $3 million or more back into the community. First off, I want to thank you on behalf of part of the local business community. Thank you. Thank you for taking a bit of time. And hopefully at some point in time in the next 5 years, you get to be in Greece playing mahjong, having a hamburger somewhere, you know, or a Euro burger, a Euro wrap. I hope that you can get like a trifecta of all your wishes.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much, James. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for carving out the time, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
All right. See ya.